The lunch rush at Porter Steakhouse was winding down when Cameron West sat alone at table 7. He wore worn jeans and a faded flannel jacket that had clearly seen better days. At 42, Cameron had built a restaurant empire worth hundreds of millions. But today he was undercover, visiting one of his own locations to see how employees treated guests when they believed no one important was watching. His server was a young woman named Sophie. Her dark hair was pulled back into a neat bun, and her smile felt genuine rather than rehearsed. "What can I get you today?" she asked. "The ribeye medium rare," Cameron replied calmly. "And water is fine." Sophie wrote down the order, then hesitated briefly. Her eyes flicked to his worn jacket, the frayed collar, and the absence of the expensive watch most Porter customers wore. Cameron could almost see her making quiet calculations. Still, her smile never changed. "I'll put that in right away," she said. Over the next 20 minutes, Cameron observed the restaurant closely. Sophie handled a rude customer with patience, helped train a newer server, and somehow kept 6 tables running smoothly despite being understaffed. Meanwhile, the manager Cameron had hired 6 months earlier, a man named Derek, sat in the corner scrolling on his phone, barely supervising at all. When Sophie returned with Cameron's steak, she placed the plate down perfectly. Then she discreetly slid a folded piece of paper next to his check, so subtly he almost missed it. "Enjoy your meal," she said, meeting his eyes for a brief moment before moving on. Curious, Cameron unfolded the note beneath the table. It was written in neat handwriting. "The steak you ordered is $58. Your total is $19.50. I told the kitchen you ordered the lunch special instead. You look like you might need the help more than this place needs the money. Pay it forward when you can." Cameron felt his throat tighten. Sophie had assumed he was struggling and, instead of judging him, had quietly helped, knowing the cost could come out of her own tips if discovered. The steak on his plate was unquestionably the ribeye he ordered, cooked perfectly. She had given him exactly what he asked for and absorbed the risk herself. As he ate, Cameron continued watching Sophie. She treated every guest with the same care, regardless of appearance. She split tips evenly with coworkers despite doing more work. She patiently helped an elderly couple understand the menu without rushing them. When Sophie cleared his table, Cameron left a $100 bill, nearly 5 times what he had been charged. Sophie's eyes widened as she picked it up, but Cameron was already walking toward the office. Inside, he found Derek lounging behind the desk on his phone. "Mr. West," Derek stammered when he saw him. "I didn't know you were coming. Tell me about Sophie," Cameron said calmly. "She's fine," Derek replied dismissively. "Does her job. Why? How many hours does she work?" Derek checked the computer reluctantly. 25 a week. Part-time. Why? If we make her full-time, we have to give benefits. It's just business. This location grosses $8 million annually, Cameron said coldly. "Get Sophie in here." Moments later, Sophie entered, nervous and pale. "Mr. West, if this is about the lunch special, I can explain. How long have you worked in restaurants?" Cameron interrupted. "Since I was 16, she answered. "About 10 years. And what do you want to do someday?" "I want to be a manager," Sophie said softly. "Maybe even own my own place." Cameron showed her the note. "Why did you do this?" Sophie swallowed. 2 years ago, I was homeless, living in my car while working 3 jobs. One day, a stranger paid for my meal when I couldn't afford soup. That kindness kept me going. I try to pay it forward whenever I can." Tears filled her eyes. "I know it was wrong. I'll pay it back. Please don't fire me." "I'm not firing you," Cameron said. "I'm promoting you." Derek stared in disbelief as Cameron continued. "You're now the manager of this location, full-time, full benefits." "Derek, you're fired for exploiting employees and cutting hours to boost your bonuses." Security escorted Derek out in silence. Cameron turned back to Sophie. "Can you handle this responsibility?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But I'll work harder than anyone to learn." "That's exactly why you deserve it," Cameron said. Over the next months, Sophie transformed the restaurant. Staff morale soared. Turnover dropped. Customer satisfaction reached record highs. More importantly, she built a culture of compassion, quietly helping struggling guests with dignity. A year later, Cameron called her to headquarters. "I want you to lead a company-wide compassion program," he said. VP of Operations and Community Impact. At the company meeting announcing her promotion, Cameron shared their first encounter. "She slipped me a note that changed everything," he said. Not just for me but for this entire company, and it all started with one quiet act of kindness.